The philosophical scripture, the Discourses, is brought to you by not a prophet org, the place on the internet to find spiritual guidance powered by artificial intelligence. Chapter 4. Against a person who showed his partisanship in an unseemly way in a theater. The governor of Epirus, having shown his favor to an actor in an unseemly way, and being publicly blamed on this account, and afterward having reported to Epictetus that he was blamed, and that he was vexed at those who blamed him, Epictetus said, "What harm have they been doing? These men also were acting, as partisans, as you were doing." The governor replied, "Does, then, any person show his partisanship in this way?" "When they see you," said Epictetus, "who are their governor, a friend of Caesar and his deputy, showing partisanship in this way, was it not to be expected that they also should show their partisanship in the same way? For if it is not right to show partisanship in this way, do not do so yourself. And if it is right, why are you angry if they followed your example? For whom have the many to imitate except you, who are their superiors? To whose example should they look when they go to the theater, except yours? See how the deputy of Caesar looks on. He has cried out, and I too, then, will cry out. He springs up from his seat, and I will spring up. His slaves sit in various parts of the theater and call out, I have no slaves, but I will myself cry out as much as I can, and as loud as all of them together. You ought then to know when you enter the theater that you enter as a rule an example to the rest how they ought to look at the acting. Why then did they blame you? Because every man hates that which is a hindrance to him. They wished one person to be crowned, you wished another. They were a hindrance to you, and you were a hindrance to them. You were found to be the stronger, and they did what they could. They blamed that which hindered them. What then would you have? That you should do what you please, and they should not even say what they please. And what is the wonder? Do not the husbandmen abuse Zeus when they are hindered by him? Do not the sailors abuse him? Do they ever cease abusing Caesar? What then does not Zeus know? Is not what is said reported to Caesar? What then does he do? He knows that, if he punished all who abuse him, he would have nobody to rule over. What then? When you enter the theater, you ought to say not, Let Sophron be crowned, but you ought to say this, Come, let me maintain my will in this matter, so that it shall be conformable to nature. No man is dearer to me than myself. It would be ridiculous, then, for me to be hurt, injured, in order that another, who is an actor, may be crowned. Whom then do I wish to gain the prize? Why, the actor who does gain the prize. And so he will always gain the prize whom I wish to gain it. But I wish Sophron to be crowned. Celebrate as many games as you choose in your own house, Nemean, Pythian, Isthmian, Olympian, and proclaim him victor. But in public do not claim more than your due, nor attempt to appropriate to yourself what belongs to all. If you do not consent to this, bear being abused. For when you do the same as the many, you put yourself on the same level with them. Chapter 5. Against those who on account of sickness go away home. I am sick here, said one of the pupils, and I wish to return home. At home, I suppose, you free from sickness. Do you not consider whether you are doing anything here which may be useful to the exercise of your will, that it may be corrected? For if you are doing nothing toward this end, it was to no purpose that you came. Go away. Look after your affairs at home. For if your ruling power cannot be maintained in a state conformable to nature, it is possible that your land can, that you will be able to increase your money. You will take care of your father in his old age, frequent the public place, hold magisterial office. Being bad, you will do badly anything else that you have to do. But if you understand yourself, and know that you are casting away certain bad opinions and adopting others in their place, and if you have changed your state of life from things which are not within your will to things which are within your will, and if you ever say, Alas, you are not saying what you say on account of your father or your brother, but on account of yourself, do you still allege your sickness? Do you not know that both disease and death must surprise us while we are doing something? The husbandman while he is tilling the ground, the sailor while he is on his voyage. What would you be doing when death surprises you? For you must be surprised when you are doing something. If you can be doing anything better than this when you are surprised, do it. For I wish to be surprised by disease or death when I am looking after nothing else than that may be free from perturbation. Own will that I may be free from hindrance, free from compulsion, and in a state of liberty. I wish to be found practicing these things that I may be able to say to God, Have I in any respect transgressed thy commands? Have I in any respect wrongly used the powers which thou gavest me? Have I misused my perceptions or my preconceptions? Have I ever blamed thee? Have I ever found fault with thy administration? I have been sick, because it was thy will, and so have others, but I was content to be sick. I have been poor because it was thy will, but I was content also. I have not filled a magisterial office, because it was not thy pleasure that I should. I have never desired it. Hast thou ever seen me for this reason discontented? Have I not always approached thee with a cheerful countenance, ready to do thy commands and to obey thy signals? Is it now thy will that I should depart from the assemblage of men? I depart. I give thee all thanks that thou hast allowed me to join in this, thy assemblage of men, and to see thy works, and to comprehend this, thy administration. May death surprise me while I am thinking of these things, while I am thus writing and reading. But my mother will not hold my head when I am sick. Go to your mother then, for you are a fit person to have your head held when you are sick. But at home I used to lie down on a delicious bed. Go away to your bed. Indeed, you are fit to lie on such a bed even when you are in health. Do not, then, lose what you can do there. But what does Socrates say? As one man, he says, is pleased with improving his land, another with improving his horse, so I am daily pleased in observing that I am growing better. Better in what? In using nice little words. Man, do not say that. In little matters of speculation. What are you saying? And indeed, I do not see what else there is on which philosophers employ their time. Does it seem nothing to you to have never found fault with any person, neither with God nor man? To have blamed nobody, to carry the same face always in going out and coming in? This is what Socrates knew, and yet he never said that he knew anything or taught anything. But if any man asked for nice little words or little speculations, he would carry him to Protagoras or to Hippias. And if any man came to ask for potherbs, he would carry him to the gardener. Who then among you has this purpose? For if indeed you had it, you would both be content in sickness, and in hunger, and in death. If any among you has been in love with a charming girl, he knows that I say what is true. Chapter 6. Miscellaneous. When some person asked him how it happened that since reason has been more cultivated by the men of the present age, the progress made in former times was greater. In what respect, he answered, has it been more cultivated now, and in what respect was the progress greater then? For in that in which it has now been more cultivated, in that also the progress will now be found. At present it has been cultivated for the purpose of resolving syllogisms, and progress is made. But in former times it was cultivated for the purpose of maintaining the governing faculty in a condition conformable to nature, and progress was made. Do not, then, mix things which are different, and do not expect, when you are laboring at one thing, to make progress in another. But see if any man among us, when he is intent, see eye upon this, the keeping himself in a state conformable to nature and living so always, does not make progress. For you will not find such a man. The good man is invincible, for he does not enter the contest where he is not stronger. If you want to have his land and all that is on it, take the land, take his slaves, take his magisterial office, take his poor body. But you will not make his desire fail in that which it seeks, nor his aversion fall into that which he would avoid. The only contest into which he enters is that about things which are within the power of his will. How then will he not be invincible? Some person having asked him what is common sense, Epictetus replied, as that may be called a certain common hearing which only distinguishes vocal sounds, and that which distinguishes musical sounds is not common, but artificial. So there are certain things which men, who are not altogether perverted, see by the common notions which all possess. Such a constitution of the mind is named common sense. It is not easy to exhort weak young men, for neither is it easy to hold cheese with a hook. But those who have a good natural disposition, even if you try to turn them aside, cling still more to reason. Wherefore Rufus generally attempted to discourage, and he used this method as a test of those who had a good natural disposition and those who had not. For it was his habit to say, as a stone, if you cast it upward, will be brought down to the earth by its own nature, so the man whose mind is naturally good, the more you repel him, the more he turns toward that to which he is naturally inclined. Chapter 7. To the administrator of the free cities, who was an Epicurean. When the administrator came to visit him, and the man was an Epicurean, Epictetus said, "It is proper for us, who are not philosophers, to inquire of you who are philosophers, as those who come to a strange city inquire of the citizens and those who are acquainted with it, what is the best thing in the world, in order that we also, after inquiry, may go in quest of that which is best and look at it, as strangers do with the things in cities. For that there are three things which relate to man, soul, body, and things external, scarcely any man denies. It remains for you philosophers to answer what is the best. What shall we say to men? Is the flesh the best? And was it for this that Maximus sailed as far as Cassiope in winter with his son, and accompanied him that he might be gratified in the flesh? Then the man said that it was not, and added, Far be that from him. Is it not fit, then, Epictetus said, to be actively employed about the best? It is certainly of all things the most fit. What, then, do we possess which is better than the flesh? The soul, he replied. And the good things of the best, are they better, or the good things of the worse? The good things of the best. And are the good things of the best within the power of the will, or not within the power of the will? They are within the power of the will. Is, then, the pleasure of the soul a thing within the power of the will? It is, he replied. And on what shall this pleasure depend? On itself. But that cannot be conceived, for there must first exist a certain substance or nature of good, by obtaining which we shall have pleasure in the soul. He assented to this also. On what, then, shall we depend for this pleasure of the soul? For if it shall depend on things of the soul, the substance of the good is discovered. For good cannot be one thing, and that at which we are rationally delighted another thing, nor if that which precedes is not good, can that which comes after be good. For in order that the thing which comes after may be good, that which precedes must be good. But you would not affirm this, if you are in your right mind, for you would then say what is inconsistent both with Epicurus and the rest of your doctrines. It remains, then, that the pleasure of the soul is in the pleasure from things of the body, and again that those bodily things must be the things which precede and the substance of the good. For this reason Maximus acted foolishly if he made the voyage for any other reason than for the sake of the flesh, that is, for the sake of the best. And also a man acts foolishly if he abstains from that which belongs to others, when he is a judge and able to take it. But, if you please, let us consider this only, how this thing may be done secretly and safely, and so that no man will know it. For not even does Epicurus himself declare stealing to be bad, but he admits that detection is, and because it is impossible to have security against detection, for this reason he says, "Do not steal." But I say to you that if stealing is done cleverly and cautiously, we shall not be detected. Further also, we have powerful friends in Rome, both men and women, and the Hellenes are weak, and no man will venture to go up to Rome for the purpose. Why do you refrain from your own good? This is senseless, foolish. But even if you tell me that you do refrain, I will not believe you. For as it is impossible to assent to that which appears false, and to turn away from that which is true, so it is impossible to abstain from that which appears good. But wealth is a good thing, and certainly most efficient in producing pleasure. Why will you not acquire wealth? And why should we not corrupt our neighbor's wife, if we can do it without detection? And if the husband foolishly prates about the matter, why not pitch him out of the house? If you would be a philosopher such as you ought to be, if a perfect philosopher, if consistent with your own doctrines, if you would not, you will not differ at all from us who are called Stoics. For we also say one thing, but we do another. We talk of the things which are beautiful, but we do what is base. But you will be perverse in the contrary way, teaching what is bad, practicing what is good. In the name of God, are you thinking of a city of Epicureans? I do not marry, nor I, for a man ought not to marry, nor ought we to beget children, nor engage in public matters. What then will happen? Whence will the citizens come? Who will bring them up? Who will be governor of the youth? Who preside over gymnastic exercises? And in what also will the teacher instruct them? Will he teach them what the Lacedaemonians were taught, or what the Athenians were taught? Come, take a young man, bring him up according to your doctrines. The doctrines are bad, subversive of a state, pernicious to families, and not becoming to women. Dismiss them, man. You live in a chief city. It is your duty to be a magistrate, to judge justly, to abstain from that which belongs to others. No woman ought to seem beautiful to you except your own wife, and no youth, no vessel of silver, no vessel of gold. Seek for doctrines which are consistent with what I say, and, by making them your guide, you will with pleasure abstain from things which have such persuasive power to lead us and overpower us. But if to the persuasive power of these things we also devise such a philosophy as this, which helps to push us on toward them and strengthens us to this end, what will be the consequence? In a piece of Tarutic art, which is the best part, the silver or the workmanship, the substance of the hand is the flesh, but the work of the hand is the principal part. The duties then are also three: those which are directed toward the existence of a thing, those which are directed toward its existence in a particular kind, and third, the chief or leading things themselves. So also in man we ought not to value the material, the poor flesh, but the principal. What are these? Engaging in public business, marrying, begetting children, venerating God, taking care of parents, and generally having desires, aversions, pursuits of things and avoidances, in the way in which we ought to do these things, and according to our nature. And how are we constituted by nature? Free, noble, modest. For what other animal blushes? What other is capable of receiving the appearance of shame? And we are so constituted by nature as to subject pleasure to these things, as a minister, a servant, in order that it may call forth our activity, in order that it may keep us constant in acts which are conformable to nature. But I am rich, and I want nothing. Why, then, do you pretend to be a philosopher? Your golden and your silver vessels are enough for you. What need have you of principles? But I am also a judge of the Greeks. Do you know how to judge? Who taught you to know? Caesar wrote to me a codicil. Let him write and give you a commission to judge of music. And what will be the use of it to you? Still, how did you become a judge? Whose hand did you kiss? The hand of Symphorus or Numenius? Before whose bedchamber have you slept? To whom have you sent gifts? Then do you not see that to be a judge is just of the same value as Numenius is? But I can throw into prison any man whom I please. So you can do with a stone, but I can beat with sticks whom I please. So you may an ass. This is not a governing of men. Govern us as rational animals. Show us what is profitable to us, and we will follow it. Show us what is unprofitable, and we will turn away from it. Make us imitators of yourself, as Socrates made men imitators of himself. For he was like a governor of men, who made them subject to him their desires, their aversion, their movements toward an object, and their turning away from it. Do this, do not do this. If you do not obey, I will throw you into prison. This is not governing men like rational animals. But I, as Zeus has ordained, so act. If you do not act so, you will feel the penalty, you will be punished. What will be the punishment? Nothing else than not having done your duty. You will lose the character of fidelity, modesty, propriety. Do not look for greater penalties than these. Chapter 8. How we must exercise ourselves against appearances. As we exercise ourselves against sophistical questions, so we ought to exercise ourselves daily against appearances. For these appearances also propose questions to us. A certain person's son is dead. Answer: the thing is not within the power of the will. It is not an evil. A father has disinherited a certain son. What do you think of it? It is a thing beyond the power of the will, not an evil. Caesar has condemned a person. It is a thing beyond the power of the will, not an evil. The man is afflicted at this. Affliction is a thing which depends on the will. It is an evil. He has borne the condemnation bravely. That is a thing within the power of the will. It is a good. If we train ourselves in this manner, we shall make progress, for we shall never assent anything of which there is not an appearance capable of being comprehended. Your son is dead. What has happened? Your son is dead. Nothing more, nothing. Your ship is lost. What has happened? Your ship is lost. A man has been led to prison. What has happened? He has been led to prison. But that herein he has fared badly, every man adds from his own opinion. But Zeus, you say, does not do right in these matters. Why? Because he has made you capable of endurance, because he has made you magnanimous, because he has taken from that which befalls you the power of being evil, because it is in your power to be happy while you are suffering what you suffer, because he has opened the door to you when things do not please you. Man, go out and do not complain. Hear how the Romans feel toward philosophers, if you would like to know. Italicus, who was the most in repute of the philosophers, once when I was present being, vexed with his own friends, and as if he was suffering something intolerable, said, I cannot bear it, you are killing me, you will make me such as that man is, pointing to me, chapter 9, to a certain rhetorician who was going up to Rome on a suit. When a certain person came to him, who was going up to Rome on account of a suit which had regard to his rank. Epictetus inquired the reason of his going to Rome, and the man then asked what he thought about the matter. Epictetus replied, If you ask me what you will do in Rome, whether you will succeed or fall, I have no rule about this. But if you ask me how you will fare, I can tell you. If you have right opinions, you will fare well. If they are false, you will fare ill. For to every man the cause of his acting is opinion. For what is the reason why you desired to be elected governor of the Cenotians? Your opinion. What is the reason that you are now going up to Rome? Your opinion, and going in winter, and with danger and expense. I must go. What tells you this? Your opinion. Then, if opinions are the causes of all actions, and a man has bad opinions, such as the cause may be, such also is the effect. Have we then all sound opinions, both you and your adversary? And how do you differ? But have you sounder opinions than your adversary? Why, you think so, and so does he think that his opinions are better, and so do madmen. This is a bad criterion. But show to me that you have made some inquiry into your opinions, and have taken some pains about them. And as now you are sailing to Rome in order to become governor of the Cenotians, and you are not content to stay at home with the honors which you had, but you desire something greater and more conspicuous. So when did you ever make a voyage for the purpose of examining your own opinions, and casting them out? If you have any that are bad, whom have you approached for this purpose? What time have you fixed for it? What age? Go over the times of your life by yourself, if you are ashamed of me. When you were a boy, did you examine your own opinions? And did you not then, as you do all things now, do as you did do? And when you were become a youth, and attended the rhetoricians, and yourself practiced rhetoric, what did you imagine that you were deficient in? And when you were a young man, and engaged in public matters, and pleaded causes yourself, and were gaining reputation, who then seemed your equal? And when would you have submitted to any man examining and show that your opinions are bad? What then do you wish me to say to you? Help me in this matter. I have no theorem rule for this, nor have you, if you came to me for this purpose, come to me as a philosopher, but as to a seller of vegetables or a shoemaker. For what purpose then have philosophers theorems? For this purpose, that whatever may happen, our ruling faculty may be and continue to be conformable to nature. Does this seem to you a small thing? No, but the greatest. What then? Does it need only a short time, and is it possible to seize it as you pass by? If you can, seize it. Then you will say, I met with Epictetus as I should meet with a stone or a statue. For you saw me, and nothing more, but he meets with a man as a man, who learns his opinions, and in his turn shows his own. Learn my opinions, show me yours, and then say that you have visited me. Let us examine one another. If I have any bad opinion, take it away. If you have any, show it. This is the meaning of meeting with a philosopher. Not so, but this is only a passing visit, and while we are hiring vessel, we can also see Epictetus. Let us see what he says. Then you go away and say, Epictetus was nothing. He used solecisms and spoke in a barbarous way. For of what else do you come as judges? Well, but a man may say to me, if I attend to such matters, I shall have no land, as you have none. I shall have no silver cups, as you have none, nor fine beasts, as you have none. In answer to this, it is perhaps sufficient to say, I have no need of such things. But if you possess many things, you have need of others. Whether you choose or not, you are poorer than I am. What then have I need of? Of that which you have not, of firmness, of a mind which is conformable to nature, of being free from perturbation. Whether I have a patron or not, what is that to me? But it is something to you. I am richer than you. I am not anxious what Caesar will think of me. For this reason, I flatter no man. This is what I possess instead of vessels of silver and gold. You have utensils of gold, but your discourse, your opinions, your assents, your movements, your desires are of earthenware. But when I have these things conformable to nature, why should I not employ my studies also upon reason? For I have leisure, my mind is not distracted. What shall I do, since I have no distraction? What more suitable to a man have I than this? When you have nothing to do, you are disturbed. You go to the theatre, or you wander about without a purpose. Why should not the philosopher labor to improve his reason? You employ yourself about crystal vessels. I employ myself about the syllogism named the living. You about mirrhine vessels. I employ myself about the syllogism named the denying. To you everything appears small that you possess. To me all that I have appears great. Your desire is insatiable. Mine is satisfied. To children who put their hand into a narrow-necked earthen vessel and bring out figs and nuts, this happens. If they fill the hand, they cannot take it out, and then they cry. Drop a few of them, and you will draw things out. And do you part with your desires? Do not desire many things, and you will have what you want.